Every filmmaker is a collector. You collect images, you collect moments, you collect gestures, you collect, no matter what, even if you're a realist, you collect memories, you collect, and so when you can articulate them through objects, it really is a dialogue. You keep a dialogue with your collection. You know, I'm as close to Jack Kirby as I am with a classical painter. You can say Tintoretto, you know, any Renaissance painter, any Impressionist. You know, they were part of my vocabulary growing up. So I think that you cannot separate it at some point of the journey. You have to surround yourself. You can make your chapel smaller, but you need to be surrounded by icons or holy objects, you know. And for the filmmaker, it's easier to part with his props or his designs than it is the things that you love from other filmmakers. Like one of the things I do before I start a movie, I have a big table with a statue of an archangel and a devil fighting. It's reversed. Most people have the archangel winning, I have the devil winning. And I go through the house and I collect a library card of books. And then I read them, things that I haven't read in 20 years. I try to be curious. I think curiosity is love. And if you're curious, you're in love with an object, a moment, a movie, you know, and they go together. So I do that. I stop on a painting. You know, one of my favorite things is to see Corbin. The way he treats black and white is completely non-precious. There's whiteout, there's corrections, there's pieces of paper glued to the original. To see that, as opposed to the finished mechanical reproduction, is so inspiring. And then you see somebody like Bernie Wrightson, 0 corrections on the Frankenstein plate. They're perfect. And he said that there was a moment where if anything went wrong, no matter where he was, he would start over. So that's why there are so many unpublished pages of Frankenstein around, you know? So to have the dialogue with the brushstroke, with the correction, with the whiteout, that is not a mechanical gesture, is very moving. And now and then, for example, with Mignola, I think his color work is astounding. But the way he arrived to the palette he's at now is really an interesting journey. The way he arrived to the shadows, like there was a moment where Mike was the guy that drew people with big lips and small feet. That was the signature, and he was sort of influenced by Alex Toth or this or that. And then after Dracula and Batman by Gaslight, you know, he becomes the Hellboy guy. The great majority of the pieces that are in the first auction, the great majority of them were selected for exhibition in several museums, LACMA in Los Angeles, MIA, MIA in Minneapolis, Musa in Mexico, and AGO in Toronto. They have such a strong lineage in that. You know, you have Giger, Wrightson, Corbin exhibited in a major museum in America, some of them for the very first time, you know, and I think it was an act of love that each museum took as a commitment to say, look, this is not just illustration. It's a very contemporary form of art, narrative art. If you're a collector, you're very, very attuned and delicate about how it's curated. You say, discerning, not discerning, this is for value. You know, you know who's collecting for what reason. This auction started with the fires, basically. It became a serious endeavor because the collection is lodged in 2.5 houses, 2 houses and 1 apartment, and they are completely taken by the collection. There's more than 5,000 objects, you know, and when the fires came, we were, you guys, the ILM crew that was visiting and the editing staff, we were moving the art, and we were able to move, like 120 pieces of art out of the fire. And the fire never reached the house, but this was the 3rd time a fire comes close to the house in California. The first 2 times were in Thousand Oaks, and then I moved the houses. It took me almost 5 years to move the houses. I'm still not done. And right before I'm done, these fires came, and I felt, well, I can donate it to a museum, and then I can risk them being in a warehouse, never curate it into a collection for the rest of their life. Or I can reach the true believers, the people that know what this means and can have it and say, you know, this is a legacy piece from an author I like, writes on Mignola, Guillermo, whoever you like, you know. And this was in that collection at that time, and then it came to me, and now it's gonna pass after me to somebody else. And I think that's a part of the auction world that is very driven by love. One of the things that I talk about is when you have a family you care about, and this is my family, you start estate planning before you hit 50. That is a gesture of love, and this is sort of that.